Welcome back to another edition of 68 Shining Moments, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Today, we roast Mark Few.
Welcome to an episode of the Bulldog Broadcast with myself, your host, Dan Dickau on the Field of 68 Media Network. This is going to be interesting, I'm sure, because before we press record, there was a lot of comments flying left and right. I'm sure there's going to be some one-liners that very few people understand other than the five of my guests. Each of them have a tremendous amount of connections to Gonzaga. We'll start Dan Monson, Bill Grier, Leon Rice, and Ray Giacoletti. How are you guys doing?
That's 4 guests, Dan. I mean, you said 5 guests. I mean, is that Gonzaga education coming out?
Well, I guess, you know what, I was mistaken because I had to send 5 invites because Leon Rice doesn't handle his own emails now. I had to send it to some mystery man named Red.
David Moats.
That's right. Red, Shawshank Redemption. Red can get stuff.
He's big time. You got to know people to get to Leon. He's big time now. The NIT runner up.
Oh no. Hey, that's one thing. There's certain things that you want to have in common with you, and that's one of them is that no emails, no wasting time with that stuff. I don't want to navigate all that. I don't feed all those homeless cats like Ray was good at.
Homeless cats.
Oh yeah, all the people that email you and tell you how dumb you are, and I stopped getting those. I remember after Air Force, I gave up like 97 points, and all the hate mail I got. I went down to the football office and said, "What the hell? What do you?" He goes, "Nope, I have a fake email address. You can't look at that stuff." And ever since that day, I don't touch it.
That's awesome. Hey, I know each of you guys in prominent roles in Division I college basketball are looking at a transfer portal right now. And before we touch on Gonzaga and your guys' experiences there, and you guys can roast Coach Few as much as you want, what are your thoughts on this transfer portal, and how do you guys go about kind of looking at it and kind of deciphering what you guys want to do with your programs?
Well, let me take it first because I'm going to be the most outspoken, and we can let the softer, nicer human beings take over. All we're doing, Dan, is teaching kids to quit, not once, but 4 or 5 times. So all the big timers on TV that want to, everybody deserves this or that. There's not going to be landing spots for over half of these kids. It will ruin college basketball. You heard it here first. I'm glad I'm at the tail end of my gig, and it's been a good run, but absolutely flat out ruining college basketball. Go ahead, Leon, soften it up for me.
That's Ray Giacoletti for you, ladies and gentlemen. In a nutshell, Ray has spoken.
Get off my yard.
That was positive. Who's not in the portal?
We've been talking so much about the portal and all this. I swear, and I'm not lying. I had a dream that my wife put her name in the portal.
I scooped it up. I scooped it up. We already are talking to her. We had a Zoom call with her.
I would go old school, but we're blocking certain people on this one. It's everybody on this call gets blocked. I know that.
How about you, Billy? You're obviously Colorado. You guys have had some guys put your name in the portal, but how do you guys look at that and work through it?
We haven't had, we had our very first transfer, 5th-year transfer this year. Leon's I think the expert in it. They've got half the rosters been transfer guys. So it's something we all look at, but we haven't used it as much as, say, Coach Rice there at Boise.
All right, good stuff so far. I want to move on to Gonzaga. Obviously, you guys are well connected. Coach Monson, you were a big part of allowing myself to have the career that I had because you allowed me to transfer to Gonzaga. You then left for Minnesota. Thanks for leaving me high and dry. But I knew I was in good hands with Coach Few and Coach Grier at the time. Did you ever see this coming?
Well, first of all, back to your career, I wasn't as responsible as Ray was because Ray screwed you up at the University of Washington allow us to have you at Gonzaga. So, I think he deserves more credit than I do.
That is true. He did leave me high and dry.
He
left for his own gig about a month before I was a freshman.
Yeah, never had a chance to coach him. I got to know him hard during his junior and senior year.
So,
but
let me get this straight. Ray, let me get this straight, Ray. So it's okay for you to leave, and you're not a quitter, but Dan, if he left, he's a quitter.
I transferred when it was a rarity.
I'm
There was
just
like
saying,
200 kids in the transfer wires those years.
I'm just saying the grumpy old guy over there needs to.
I'll never forget. Here's my favorite Dan Dickau. Ray was so invested when he recruited Dan at Washington.
Yes, he was.
That he and I went to the state tournament together. Ray probably doesn't even remember this. And we went to watch Dan. And I forget, David, Red's got a call. I mean, Red just took off.
It's the transfer portal.
In the middle of my best story of the day, Leon his ADD just kicked in.
That was Coach Few from the college, actually. I told him, I said, you'll never believe what we're doing right now. All five of us are talking at the same time on Wisconsin.
So that's why you have to, when Mark calls, Dan Dickau's podcast takes a second. Goodman will understand that.
Yeah, maybe I need to fire an email off to him real quick. I know he doesn't have email, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, you're going to have to get his read.
He's going to wait till it talks to you, Dan. That was always what he said, right, Leon?
That's right.
It talks to you.
So anyway, before I was really interrupted by King Few, Ray and I go to the state tournament together and to watch, and I'm like, I don't have anything. He goes, well, we got to go watch. What was your high school again? In Prairie. We got to go watch Prairie versus I don't know, Shorecrest. I don't know. Do you remember who you played the first round of the state tournament?
I believe it was Bothell.
Bothell, your senior year. So anyway, we go and I'm telling you what, I've been around some parents that are, like crazy, nervous for their kid and everything. But I've never, Ray was so nervous and he's up there just talking to him like a parent. He goes, "That a boy, Dan. There. Stick him, Dan, right there. That's good defense right there, Dan." Just like a parent up there cheering in the thing. And then Bothell students started chanting something, about air ball or something. That something happened, that they started getting on Dan. And boy, you came down and you hit a jumper, and he's like, "Take that, Bothell. Take that one."
Boy, how the story grows over the amount of years.
That's accurate.
The guy can't just pull for a guy up there. Just nice and easy.
No, you pulled for him, and again, I am making fun of you, but also it was, I knew at that time, just watching that game, I'm like, you were a special player, and you guys had a special relationship as an assistant coach recruiting you, and you were in good hands till he took off. But Gonzaga was lucky that you landed there and helped start this whole thing.
Again, I'm grateful that you took a chance on me after my rough 2 years at UW, but that allowed me to get to know Billy Grier because you were gone. Billy and I would play golf occasionally during his time. Did you ever, Coach Grier, explain Coach Few's golf swing and his golf grip? Because it is pretty darn interesting. It's nothing like his fishing skills, is it?
First of all, I got to interrupt again. Were you with the women's team? Because Billy was the women's golf coach at that time. I mean, did you go out for free because you were on the part of the women's team?
Well, that's how little Gonzaga had how little money Gonzaga had at the time too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Now, Coach Few had a little bit of a baseball grip and a snap hook. I think it's probably why he didn't play as much as maybe the rest of us did. And he got really into fly fishing at that point.
Well, I remember there was times practice would be pushed back because he was late getting back from his fly fishing trips with his buddies. We didn't have iPhones.
You recall that, Leon?
Oh yeah.
We didn't have text messaging at the time, so we would get a phone call, and it would be like the phone tree, like, hey, call this guy, this guy. You guys are roommates, so just pass it on. And so practice would start, 2 hours later.
Have him shoot 100 free throws.
Yeah. And then he would show up in his boots and his jeans.
We just did. We'll have him shoot another 100.
Have you guys all gone fishing with him? And is Coach Few as good a fisherman as the stories are told?
He is.
He is, no doubt. I got to go this summer on one of his high-level excursions, and I got to see it firsthand. And man, he really is. He's upper 1 percentile in fly fishing, and
But wouldn't you guys say that his fishing has kind of evolved brick by brick and kind of like the basketball program? Because when we were on, I think it was Billy's bachelor party or something, wasn't he using magic bait and a bobber or like the rest of us?
He used to be a treble hook power bait guy. Leon and I witnessed it on Diamond Lake in Oregon.
Oh yeah.
That was a good trip.
We put in such a long day of fishing. I got hemorrhoids that day, I think. So we sat there on that boat for so dang long.
The aluminum boat?
Yes, we did.
We rented 2 boats. We were out in this lake close to Crater Lake in Oregon, and he was a different fisherman back then. He's evolved.
Kind of like the basketball program. He's gone to an elite level in 2 areas.
I've been told by people that he doesn't like to just go, a 2-hour drive to go fish now. He wants a 2-hour private jet to go fish. Is this correct?
Well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's you're right. It has evolved just like the program. There's he's a scrapper though. He'll go from you better be able to hang, because he's going from sun up to I'll be over sleeping on the bank and waiting for him to be done. He just has he's into it, and it's his sanctuary. And I get it. When you get out there and do it with them, you see it, how cool it is and the places he gets to go. And that's what I like about it, is just where you get to go. I'm not like into the fishing like he is. I like it, but not like, man, he's good at, and he is good at it. He's really, really good at it.
Hey, do you remember the year we were in the Bahamas and we were giving him so much grief? We were out on a boat one day that he had his fly rod Federal Express down so that he could take it out the next day. Jimmy Herrick was talking so much shit to him that he got him all flustered and went and had his rod shipped to him. Couldn't catch any fish. Then he started chumming in the back of the boat with dog food. I mean, he just had him rattled. It was one of the first times, only times in 30 years I've seen Fewy like rattled. Jimmy had him just talking to himself in the back. He's throwing dog food off this boat and got nothing.
Before we continue that interview, I just have to let you guys know that it is that time of year again. We have waited 2 years for this moment, and it is finally here. March's biggest tournament is back. Gonzaga is getting ready to run the table. Slippers are being fit as we speak, and our partners over at DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, are putting our listeners at the center of the action. How? If you bet $4 on an underdog in a select game this week and that underdog wins, you win $256. That's right, $256. Here's how it works. You download the app now. You use the promo code FIELD68 when you sign up. Scroll through the list of select underdogs, bet $4 on one of them to win, and cash $256 when they do. There is no better way for you to put your college hoops knowledge to the test and then to put your money where your mouth is with DraftKings Sportsbook. It's safe, it's secure, it's reliable. You can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. I know this because I use them. So remember, the code is FIELD68. That's FIELD68 to turn $4 into $256. For a limited time only, you must be 21 years or older. Restrictions apply. Go to DraftKings.com for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Ray, watch your language, okay? We're not all at a private school in St. Louis where we can say whatever we want, like
what
that.
Did I
This
say?
is Dan Dickau's got 5, 7 kids, 9 kids is going to listen to this when he's done. Can we clean it up? Sanctuary though is a good word. Mark one time, Coaches versus Cancer, we got done playing, and he was a host and just walked around from group to group, and the big table of coaches there, and he got done. He said, "How'd you play, Muns?" I said, "I was terrible today. Blah blah blah." And he goes, "That's why I fish." He goes, "You guys always come off the course, and you're always mad. You always lost money." And he goes, "I've never come off the stream and said, 'Oh, that was terrible out there. That was a bad.'" He said, "It doesn't matter if you catch fish or not. It's always a good day out there fishing. You guys get all worked up." I get worked up all season. Why would you get worked up on a golf course? And then it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. But, I've never been able to go fishing with him. He'd mentioned it years ago, and it didn't work for me. And I'm probably glad that I haven't, because I'm a terrible fisherman. It's not in the cards for me. Hey, Beej and Leon, you guys were assistants for quite a while, and then you finally got your opportunities to go as a head coach to USD and then to Boise State. At what point did you feel you were ready, and how did Coach Few support you when it was time to make a decision?
Go ahead, Bill.
I'd been there 16 years, and I think we kind of butted heads at times, and I kind of felt like maybe I needed to go do something on my own. I didn't necessarily take probably the best job being in the same conference. And so mine didn't work out as well as Leon's. But I think having the opportunity to work for Dan and learn from him, and then work for Mark, and having Leon, Leon had been a head coach at the junior college level. I learned a lot from all three of them to kind of incorporate it into my deal, and went off and, did some good things, but also some not so good things, kind of way it goes. But I felt I was ready. I just, a tough job.
Well, I think this goes back to like what you're saying, and it started with Muntz, where it probably started with Fitzy more, even that when you were a Gonzaga assistant, you had tons of ownership, and B, you had all the responsibility you could handle no matter what. And so, that's how Dan was when he was head coach with Mark. And that, so when Mark got the job, he was ready. And we all had that, we were all treated like we were all head coaches, and we all had our area that we were responsible for. And so becoming a head coach really was a turnkey operation for all of us, where a lot of assistants, they go out there and their job, what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, is so different than what you do when you get a head coaching job, that they're not ready because they just haven't had that training and opportunities. We had that at Gonzaga. We were lucky that all of us got to go through that, because it did help us prepare, and it did help us be ready. And so when we got the job, we were like, well, yeah, we've done this stuff, and the stuff that we hadn't done, we had hands on it with the head coach. So it made you confident that you were ready. And also the way Dan did it, the way Mark did it, you also knew that just go do it your way, and, put your spin on it, be authentic, and that's going to work. That's enough. You don't have to pretend you're somebody else. You don't have to try to be like somebody else. Just do it your way, make it your thing. And that's what I remember Dan, when I was like, I don't want to leave Gonzaga. I don't want to leave this family deal. I don't want to. And the thing that there's certain things that people said to you to make you go out the door to take that job. And that's what Dan said to me. He was like, well, you can create that at Boise. You can create whatever you want it to be. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I can. And I remember Ray said, you always remember the little things the guy said. Dan told me that, and Ray said, if you don't take this job, I'm going to punch you in the nose. That was what he told me. So,
I remember when I left, the only person that gave me advice to leave was Mark Few.
Yeah. But that's
I thought you worked for Mark when you were the head coach.
Yeah, I did too.
Billy, do you remember the staff meeting that, like, Mark went like fishing? We couldn't find him for like 3 days.
Oh, yeah. You were pissed. You were pissed at me.
I was like, what do you mean you don't know where he's at? So finally I get him in the office. I'm like, hey guys, we're we gotta, do this. We got to, because this is my first year. And it's like one of my first meetings, because we both Fitz, we always say we learned as much what we weren't going to do from Fitz as we were, and he taught us a lot, both directions. But one of the things, we would sit in meetings with him till, we'd watch the jump ball 15 times, and then the pizza would come at 2 a.m. and the beer would run out at 4 a.m. and we'd still be there at 7 a.m. We called that a paper route because the paper would be there when we get out of the meeting. So we would just sit there and mumble, if we ever get to be a head coach, we're not going to meet like this. Well, Mark took it literal. I don't think he's had a meeting since he worked for Fitz. So he's gone for like 3 days, and I'm panicked because I don't know who, it's like this time of year, the season, and trying to figure out recruiting and everything. So I have this meeting, and I try to kind of like reprimand Mark. And I remember he just looked at me and goes, I thought I worked with you, not for you. And I'm like, oh, okay. I guess the ground rules are set. And I don't think he ever did think he worked for me. So he's the only assistant I ever had that didn't work for me.
But that's the way he treated all of us, though. When we did work for him, he was consistent with that. He didn't.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. That he still feels that. He does. He feels like Tommy and B Mike and those guys work with him, not for him. That's the best thing. And you said that about being yourself. That's the best thing Mark has done, is be himself, and he hasn't changed from when he was an assistant. Or the only thing that's changed for him is going from the power bait to the elite fisherman, on that side. But as a coach, and the way he runs his program is how he would have ran it back then as an assistant.
Hey, Coach Giacoletti, you were close with a lot of the guys that are on this Zoom right now. You were close with Coach Few at different spots before you got to Gonzaga as an assistant coach. You had already been a head coach at a couple different places. What was it like going from an outside program to now being on the inside? What was the biggest shock to you in that adjustment?
Well, first of all, the guys on this Zoom and Fewy and Turge, we had a pack back, I guess it was 87. My first, no, shoot. We got to go back to 93.
Again, the language again.
I said, shoot.
Oh.
Like 93 is the first time I met these guys. And these guys were the first guys till I was a Midwest guy. I knew nobody, not one soul on the West Coast. And so the first time I met Dan, Mark had to come up right away and apologize for him. Finally figured out that's what everybody does for Dan. He's actually really a good guy once you get to know him, which was true, and a loyal guy.
Firefighters.
Yeah. Anyway, these were my, still to this day, my closest friends. So I had the best lifeline after getting fired at Utah to be able to go to Gonzaga is like, you won the lotto or something. So, but I had issues of my own, trying to find more balance, trying to get better as a coach. And so you were able to kind of see behind the Wizard of Oz, as you might say, behind the curtain, what goes on. And, Mark's just a guy with great confidence, great balance as far as his faith, family, basketball, fishing. And it was just an eye opener to me to be able to be in that type of environment for 6 years. And I guess I wasn't a great student because I was not able to carry it over to the next job.
I'll tell a great story about when Billy left. Ray was on a cruise with his wife, I think in, Australia, or a long ways away. And Billy, it comes out that Billy's taking the job, and we're getting all these calls from, it wasn't even like you get international calls, and it was like, he was calling us on ship to shore radio, like Gilligan's Island, and I would pick it up, and because he wanted to get on, and we had already talked about him. We knew that Mark knew that that's the direction we wanted to go, and poor Ray was just. I get the ship to shore radio from 1 to 105. You have to pick up till next time. I'll call you at 105. You got to pick up. And, we would laugh and not pick up. And poor Ray was down there in Australia, couldn't get hold of us, was sending out signal flares from the boat to try to get.
Actually, that was close. It's not exactly how it went down. Like the first day on the boat, I got this message shoved under my door that Mark Few is trying to get a hold of you. I'm like, okay, no phone, cells don't work, nothing. I was like,
we
well,
actually put it in a bottle and threw it out in the Oakland River, and it got to you.
I would have had a great time on the ship if I'd have known on day one. I didn't find out like day 7, I finally got a hold of you guys, and it's like, you want to come? I'm like, yeah, great. It'd been nice 7 days ago. I've been nervous as heck and hadn't had a beer all trip, and
you knew. Come on, you had to know.
We were all. I was trying to get a hold of him too because I had just taken the Long Beach job. I was trying to hire him. I think Billy was trying to hire him. He was holding out for the big. He was holding out for the big fish there. You talk about the pack. We had one of the pack guys. We wanted. We all trying to get him.
He slow played that one. Maybe he didn't want you guys to know he couldn't be reached. He was holding out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you, Dan.
Well played, Ray. Well played.
I do think
Jack and Dan's is a legendary sports bar. Obviously, you guys have all spent plenty of hours there. I know both late at night talking about just different things, life, basketball, but also, Dan, you guys would also spend time with Judd Heathcote and your father, Dan Monson, to kind of learn coaching philosophies and just memories and experiences. How did that help shape each of you guys as coaches?
Well, I'll go first, but I've always said that I learned what it is to be a coach from my dad, but I learned how to coach from Fitz and Gene Bartow and really Judd, because I was in 9th and 10th grade when Dad was an assistant for him at Michigan State, and they're just great mentors. Those old school, just great. Back then it was as you were talking about how the game has changed with this portal and everything, and we're on our quote unquote way out. They were kind of on their way out too, as far as the old school of it just being really coaching. And how the game was to be played the right way, so to speak. And now there's so many more factors that go into how you play or how you manage your team or your players. But these three can speak more to the Mark, to his credit, was the one that started it was Tuesday morning. They know the Tuesday lunches or whatever it was with Judd, and my dad was jealous of Judd's relationship with him, so he wouldn't show all the time. But they would have. I say that my dad will hear that and be mad at me, but I make fun of my dad because he's always looking for an angle with everybody as far as getting time with them, and these guys all gave him a great deal of time, and he loved he still does. He still goes to whatever games he can before the virus broke out, but they were, and I'm really indebted to Mark and these guys for keeping my dad and Judd, involved in the game and valuing their opinion, for those legendary Jack and Dan times.
Yeah, those were pretty special, and I was lucky. I got in and with Dan's dad. That's how I got into college coaching, and to have mentors like we had, when I look back on what was the most important things you learned from them, and what a great start for a young coach that Don taught me about integrity and honesty and running the program right. And, we were so impressionable that if we wouldn't have had those great mentors, who knows, how we would have ended up or how we would have ran our programs. And, it's like I said, for me, it started with Dawn, and then I was fortunate with Judd and Dean and some of the other old guys that we got. But those stories at Jack and Dan's were great because we had some terrific years, and Billy will tell you this. And we if we were on like a 20-game winning streak or whatever, if it was rolling, we'd walk out of there, and after talking to Judd, we thought we'd lost 20 straight games in a row. I mean, it was unbelievable. But we noticed that if we ever did hit a hard time or we lost a game or something, he'd have a great way of building you back up. He always had such a good feel for that. we'd scratch our heads, go, aren't we 29-2 right now and second in the nation? Like, man, we walk out of there, but those were priceless. And we, we were at an age where we knew how priceless those were, to have all those relationships with all those great coaches, and just to, to get their voicemails, to do, we just valued it so much. And it was, when we look back on it, it was so great.
Last question for you guys before I let you get back to the transfer portal, because I know there's lots of things that you got to research there right now. It's looking like a historic season. Gonzaga plays tonight to have a chance to get back to the Final Four. Do you guys plan to go to Indianapolis if they make it? And then what will your message be to Coach Few if they do finish the season undefeated? We'll start with Coach Grier.
I'm only going if they make it to the Final Fours. But no, it's tonight's an interesting matchup for them. SC's playing their best basketball. They're long, and so it'll be interesting, this matchup. And then the next round. I mean, they got a tough road here to get to the final, but they've had a magical season, and I was fortunate. I was in the quote unquote bubble there for a week, and got some time with he and Tommy, and just around them. So they got a pretty good setup there. And actually, I think Mark's a big reason why these teams have been able to go outside of the bubble to the field, is he was the one that really pushed for it. And I think it's been a great thing. I mean, as long as they're there, that's a long time to be inside a hotel and not be able to go outside. And with the restrictions, if Huey hadn't got that done, I mean, teams would be going stir crazy in there. I think SC is going to have some problems with some matchups tonight. And then after that, with Michigan and UCLA, hopefully they can keep it rolling and get this thing done. It'd be unbelievable. And it'd be kind of cool to do it in the state of Indiana, since Indiana was the last team to go undefeated.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Coach Muntz?
We've all talked to Mark quite a bit in the bubble, and so we've kind of, I think, made a pact with him that Saturday is going to be difficult, because if they win, he was so good to all of us. I mean, I think one of our best memories as a West Coast Mafia, as they used to call us, all of us as coaches, was how Mark made us involved in the last Final Four and made it really a family Final Four. Had all our families there and a bus for us, and team meals, team film sessions. We're all part of everything. And talking to him, now he's like, we can't do that. If they win on Saturday, it's a wave, and you can't see him again till Monday. So I think we've all kind of have a pact that if they get to that championship game, and the bubble is going to burst that night, we're going to be a part of that. We are all going to go on Monday. But Saturday, if they lose, you don't want to be there. And if they win, he's got work to do, and we can't be with him anyway. So I think that's where we're all sitting right now, unless somebody
as long as you don't bring your mace this time, that'd be good.
Yeah, that's one of those that nobody thinks is funny, but all of us on the call understand. I guess I'm the only one that doesn't think that's funny.
Coach Giacoletti.
What wouldn't be funny? You've almost killed Mark's mom. What would be funny about that?
Okay, now the story is, it's growing, and unfortunately, unlike my stories, that's accurate. So,
Coach Jack.
I think just because we're 3 hours away, I may go over on Saturday and try to. Huey wants some garlic salami and onion cheese from the Hill here in St. Louis, so it's. Find a way to get that to him. He wants no sweets. I know that's hard to believe. He wants no, I would have thought he's more of a sweet guy. But anyway, I may go over on Saturday. And obviously, if they play on Monday, I wouldn't miss it for the world.
How about you, Leon?
Well, let me first just say it's a darn shame that Dan couldn't pay for the premium Zoom package. Because we're just getting started. I mean,
that's my fault. Yeah. I was gonna do it this morning, but I just forgot.
You have scratched the surface.
I think
and
somebody in
you could have
the
got
media
us-
industry would be able to afford that, wouldn't you, Leon?
Talk to
Yeah.
Jeff Goodman. Maybe he'll pick up the tab next time.
We're down to 3 minutes, Leon.
Yeah, I know that it is a shame because you scratched the surface on the stories that we could tell, and this thing could have really got out of control and been.
Thank God.
Thing you've ever heard. We all have those. We were just scratching the surface, and then Dan ran out of. If it was a payphone, we'd be putting quarters in.
Hey,
right
we can
now.
restart it. I got plenty more questions.
Yeah. No, well, maybe we'll have to revisit it if they go on, if they win tonight, because this was fun.
The
And-
contact Red.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Get hold. Red, we'll have Red set it up so we don't run out of time. Absolutely. Unbelievable.
So will you head there, Leon?
You can take the boy out of Prairie, but you can't take the prairie out of the boy. That's right.
Leon, answer the question. Are you going on Saturday or Monday?
Yeah, thank you.
We're all on the same boat here. I mean, like you said, that was maybe not only for us, but for our families. And it was so neat because we all have kids except for Ray and we think. And
Wow.
that Final Four united all these kids and kind of created this bond between all these coaches' kids, and that was maybe, we talked about that as parents. That was one of the most special things we got out of the whole thing is that whole legacy of Gonzaga stuff lived on through our kids, and they're all connected. They have a coach's kid, chat that they stay, they're talking all the time, and they've become really tight, and it was because of that first Final Four. And so, yeah, we're all going to find a way. We got to.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. I apologize for not upgrading my Zoom account. If they get to the final title game, maybe we'll do this again on Monday night. So I appreciate all you guys' time and effort. I appreciate your impact on me, and I more so appreciate your impact on the Gonzaga program. You guys are awesome.